What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is what can gratitude and forgiveness create? And how much are you holding on to the past hurt? What if you could change the pain into something different? What if you could change it into forgiveness and gratitude? How would your life would be different? That's a question that I've been asking myself for many, many years. And it's interesting how we all talk about love, we talk about forgiveness, we talk about a lot of different things. But sometimes we don't talk about gratitude for the past. The gratitude is that energy that allows us to appreciate no matter what the person is or done. They can be the biggest asshole or the worst bitch in the world, and we still can be grateful for the lessons that we learn. This morning, I was asked some question about Akashic records, and so at first I was going to use access tools, but it looks like I'm going to be talking more about Akashic records and how it is different and how it's the same as a lot of other modalities. Because there are a lot of modalities or techniques, technologies that actually work. I've been doing a lot of different things over the years. Ever since I was a kid, my very first experience with consciousness, God, divine, unconditional love, you can call it whatever you want, Akashic field, was when I was 6 years old. When I had open heart surgery for the birth defect. And I remember waking up after the surgery in a lot of pain. I was only 6, so I had no idea. And plus, they lied to me. They told me I would go home. Instead, I went for surgery. So that was an interesting choice on doctor's But when I woke up, all I remember that pain that was there suddenly disappeared, and I felt enormous, an amazing sense of gratitude. And I knew I would be okay in that moment. In that moment, I felt one with the universe. It was kind of like that unconditional love and oneness that people talk about, awakening. You can call it whatever you want. But to a child, it felt like there was somebody or something next to her in that, 10 seconds maybe. It didn't last that long. But it was something that embraced, and I remember that even the drops of rain that was going on, because there was no air conditioner and the window was open and there was a thunderstorm outside. I remember smells. I remember everything about that moment. So when I started growing up, I was always looking for that space of unconditional love and gratitude. Because that was it. It was a gratitude that I was alive. So I was searching. I went to yoga when I was 11, or actually I didn't quite kind of like went to yoga because in Russia it was forbidden at that time. So the book I found, or my uncle found, was kind of like Xerox copied underground. And I started doing yoga and cleansing and all that, and started doing meditation. Went to more serious when we moved from Russia to America. Went more serious to meditation, more yoga. And eventually, I ended up with Akashic records. And I was going through a lot of turmoil in my life. And I was asking lots of questions about what else is possible. And somebody recommended to go for a consultation of Akashic records with Elena Lieberman. And I never forget that consultation, because to me, at that time, Akashic records meant pretty much clairvoyant, telling the future, telling you what to do, right? No. That was totally no. She never told me what to do. Also was I was asking questions, and certain questions she would tell me kind of like the information about past lives, about infinite possibility. And she explained to me that Akashic records are infinite possibilities of past, present, and future. It's infinite possibility of what we can choose. It's not just one possibility. It's more of, if we choose something, then we kind of like create a path where we go. But then again, it's not solid. We can still choose something else. It's more like a blueprint. A lot of things are fixed because of our past choices, this lifetime or past lifetime. And with all of that, it was like, wow. And what's interesting, what she told me, that Akashic records cannot, will not, and never can interfere with our free will. Because we are infinite beings. At that time, we used the word soul, immortal soul, infinite soul, that has all freedom of will, freedom of choice. And that's one thing the universe will never interfere. It will never interfere with our free will or our choices. It can kind of give us an information about maybe a little better choices, or tell us, well, that might not be your brightest choice in that moment, or explain how it will affect our lives. But it will not tell you, you have to do it this way. If you're actually listening to something or someone telling you, you have to do it this way or you have to choose this, that's not Akashic records. That's not consciousness. And what's interesting, you can... I've been doing Akashic records for, now it's almost, it's 24 years, a little bit over. Today's 22nd. So I actually took a class April 10 through 12 in 97. So it would be 24 years and 10 days since I graduated. Never in my life they told me what to do. No matter how much they desire for me to choose something greater, they never said you have to. They might have nudged me toward that, but it was still up to me. In that way, Akashic records is very gentle, but not necessarily. They can kind of like nudge people in direction, but it's more about our choices because Akashic records are not outside of us. They are in our heart. It's our knowing. It's our awareness. There are different tools to access it. Access consciousness uses the clearing statement. The body processes bars and ESC, SOP, and ESB to access that multiverse of infinite possibilities. Because Akashic field that's what it is. Infinite multiverse of infinite possibilities. And we're just starting to explore it. A lot of people worked, played in Akashic records, and Akashic records is pretty much what it is. It's record of everything that was, is, and will be. There's so many layers and levels of information. This is the information portion of the consciousness of the Akashic field. Akashic field is everything. It includes everything. It's pretty much the consciousness we talk about. There are different modalities that access Akashic field. Access consciousness, Akashic records, theta healing, and many, many more. There are different ways of accessing information. Some people go through meditation to go into Akashic field. As I said, bars, body processes, ESC, SOT, and ESC gets us there. In Akashic record modality is prayers and grace points on the hand. With a prayer being vibrational frequency, it allows us to expand, to drop our barriers and access our knowing from the heart. With being in that field, it is a field of love, gratitude, infinite possibility, and no duality. There is no right and wrong. I remember years ago, I think it was, I want to say about 15, 20 years ago, when the first time I encountered where I always thought that integrity was something that you strive and it's important to be in your integrity. And suddenly when I was in the records, when we were in the records, they said, wait a second, integrity doesn't exist. I'm like, what? What do you mean integrity doesn't exist? He's like, the word exists, but it's a lie. Because integrity depends on the culture, depends on so many things. And with everything that we know, it's more than that. And there is a question in the chat right now. Is it possible to ask questions when you need answers between yes and no? Absolutely. Except when it is about your choice. You can ask, is it red or black? And it will tell you, like, kind of like, is it red? And if it's yes or no, it will tell you, yes, it's red. But if you ask them, should I choose A or B? They will kind of tell you it's your choice. And we'll talk more about that when we come after the break. This is our first break. And you're listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is, what can gratitude and forgiveness create? And before we went on a break, we had a question about, can you ask yes and no in Akashic records? And so if you need to choose, and there's clarification, if you need to choose between two jobs, can I ask if I choose A, would it contribute to me? It's kind of a question. So basically, yes, you can ask. If you have two jobs, and you can ask, what will job A create and what will job B create? And you can see the possibilities of both of them. The Akashic records can show you what that choice will create. And with that, it's up to you to choose. And Akashic field seems to be very versatile, that offers many different things from healing. I'm just reading from the chat. Nicole has, Akashic field seems to be very versatile, that offers many different things from healing to future reading. Can we ask for what would make my business to be more profitable, or what will help me make more money? Absolutely. You can ask a lot of things in Akashic records. Future readings are not as, how would I say, this is not an Akashic field per se, though it includes that, but it's more lower vibration of the psychic level. It's where things are already solidified by our choices, then you can see the future it creates. When you are actually playing with Akashic records, those are the infinite possibilities of the future. So you can see infinite possibilities of what your choice will create. And the choice a lot of times solidifies certain paths. That's how you can see, oh, that's possible. Saying that, if you move away from that choice, it will change. It changes every millisecond because it's affected by your choices, but it also affects by other people's choices that are close to you, especially if you allow them to affect you. because your Akashic field is not isolated. It's part of the field of consciousness of everyone and everything. We're just drop in the ocean, but we are ocean as well. So you cannot make anybody do anything that they are not desiring to do. That's a universal law. I'll say it again. You cannot make anybody to do or be anything they do not desire to be or do. This is a universal law of creation. This is the free will that we're talking about. Unless the person allows them to create something, it's not going to happen. And then there is another question. I took a couple of Akashic classes, but I haven't been able to see images or know things, but I feel energies in my hands and forearms. What would it take to be able to know, see, and hear what the Akashic records is trying to communicate to me? Nicole, would you like to call in? Because then we can play with that. The phone number is, let me just tell you, it's 815, it's in the corner in the chat, 815-880-8255, because if you like to be facilitated in the Akashic records, part of the thing is that Akashic records not necessarily mean images or words. It's more about knowing. That actually tells me if you sense energies, you are actually in Akashic field. If you told me about the images and words, I might actually doubt. Because a lot of things, in Akashic field are energetic awareness. Akashic field is extremely high energy vibration. Saying that is like comparing your watching TV or you're being in meditation. A lot of times Akashic field and Akashic records don't feel any different than the energies of access consciousness, especially if you're truly in the Akashic field. It's just the tools are different. I think we have Nicole on the line. Do we?
Helen.
Hi,
Helen.
Hi, Nicole.
How are you?
I'm doing good. So I hope you heard part of the conversation I had while you were dialing.
Yeah, I was hearing everything. Thank you so much for offering this call and talking about Akashic records, because I had some questions about it. Yeah.
Exactly. What I found a lot of, actually recently when I was working with a person, that there are actual Akashic field, which is consciousness, and apparently there are some virtual realities of Akashic field, of Akashic records, I would say. And apparently some people can be working in a virtual reality, just like we're living in a virtual reality now, and sometimes we're actually being in a real living life. Same with Akashic field. You can be in virtual reality of Akashic records or in a true sense. So the way Akashic records facilitation is a little different. you can ask any question. So you can ask if you're truly being in the Akashic records when you are playing. Do you use prayers when you go into the records, or do you use meditation?
Yeah, I use the prayer. I learned it with Linda Howe's method.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many different ways are there for Akashic record, but I know the way she does it.
Yeah, there is a few schools of Akashic records. Linda Howe is one of the schools that I actually respect and admire. Same as School of Wisdom, Akashic School of Wisdom with Lisa Burnett, Linda Berger, Stevie Levine, and Bonnie Owen, as well as Akashic Record Consultant International. There are a few schools that are amazing. And so you know about the prayers, you know about forgiveness prayer. Each school has its own prayer that was given to the school. And it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's just a little different vibration that was given to the school.
Okay.
So,
Helen, is it possible for one to be tapped into that field without initiation, like without the prayers and
absolutely
stuff? Yeah.
Absolutely. Akashic records, actually, you're always in it at different layers and levels. When you're born, it's you. It's your consciousness. Some people closed it off and refuse to go in. So the prayers are the way of break through that limitation. It's a vibrational frequency, unlike the pretty much just the same or similar to clearing statement that allows you to go there easier and kind of like remove all of those things.
Right.
With that, a lot of times you don't need a prayer to get into Akashic records, especially if you know the energy. You go there automatically now. And the idea of Akashic records, I know in the classes you took, we always talk about going into Akashic records with your eyes open. Close your eyes to a minimum, and the idea is pretty much be conscious all the time. Part of when you close your eyes, there is a risk of going into trance and channeling. Channeling is different than Akashic records and Akashic field work. Channeling is more actual channeling a being or an entity, where in Akashic field, it's beyond the entities, beyond the angels, beyond demons. It's just a matrix of light, matrix of consciousness. So the idea...
So earlier I was saying that I can't see or hear no when I ask questions to Akashic field. All I perceive is just a lot of energy on my hands and forearms, and it's different with every partner that I work with. So I see that they are answering to my questions. It's just that I don't know what they are trying to communicate. So I wonder if it's a matter of
you don't
practice.
know. Yeah, it's about practice, but actually, are you sure you don't know? Because actually, when you say I don't know, when you say I don't know, you're closing off that knowing.
Okay.
Because one of the things, and we'll talk about that after the break. I didn't realize we are ready to go on our second break. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. When we'll return, we'll talk a little bit more about kind of like how to get more out of your presence in Akashic Records. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is what can gratitude and forgiveness create? And right before we went on a break, we were talking with Nicole about interpreting the energies. And when I facilitate classes with Akashic Records, I tell people, please, please, please do not interpret the information. Just give it as the way it is. So if you're receiving some energies, you might just say, I have a tingling in my right hand. Does it mean anything for you? A lot of times you will find out that things that you receive information is not about you. It's about the person that you're consulting for. And sometimes it's easier to receive the information when you release a lot of things, a lot of misconception you have. And as well as your own blocks and limitations. Akashic Records, actually interesting, what I found out, every client that comes in, every question I ask, it's about me. It's fine, but it is. And if there is something I'm not willing to see, it's going to be very difficult to interpret. But saying that, because it's somebody else, you can see it much more clear. One of the ways to clear those things is to use the prayers, the healing prayers. One of them is forgiveness, and that's our show is actually about, how to use forgiveness and gratitude to create. So the forgiveness, and I'll read it because you guys don't have it right now. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, heard, to anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have experienced that was done, been, seen, and heard to me by anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, and heard to me, by me, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. A lot of times I would use that prayer before or after I use opening prayer to go into the record. So to clear whatever I need to clear, so I can be that clear channel to hear the information. If that makes sense to you, Nicole. Are you with me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. Yeah.
The other prayer a lot of times I use, sometimes with a client, if the information is not clear, or again for myself, is clearing energy patterns of the past. Release me from the ties that bind me to the earth plane of existence and despair. Untie me from the ties that do not allow me to fly, and disconnect me from the world of despair and judgment. Allow me to be all that I am. Give me back my strength to create heaven on earth. And a lot of times that allows to clear those kind of our own limitations, blocks to actually hearing. And when I say hear and when I say see, this is not about visual or auditory. Please, we are not talking about hallucinations, either auditory or visual. And it's interesting because a lot of people expect the visual images, and some people do get them. Don't get me wrong. Some people see colors, some people see, sense smells, touch. There is so many things how people get it. It's about getting the energy of it, and your body will give you that information. I remember, and it's about what's true. And it's pretty much the same like access. Whatever is light is true. And a lot of it is energy, experience, or energy information. And you can ask them to tell you what it is. Does that make you a little clearer?
Yeah. And Helen, I have a question regarding the earlier you said something that the energy of access consciousness is same as Akashic record. Did you say that?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
if you said that,
it is consciousness. It is consciousness. Uh-huh. There is nothing other than consciousness with it.
Right. So it's consciousness, but now the way Access explains consciousness is that there's nothing right and wrong, good and bad.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment about it, and you being present with whatever that is without making it right or wrong, good and bad. So
correct.
Would you say that the energy or the energy of Akashic is same thing? Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me,
there is no polarity. There is no right and wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't judge anything.
So for me, the way I perceive, I mean, of course, I'm very new to Akashic, so please, I would love your some guidance here. So the way I perceive the field of Akashic seems very like energy, spirits meaning those like energetic beings. I run out of words to describe it. Like energetic beings.
Yeah, because you can't describe
they seem to be
it's
present.
Beyond beings.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty much
but
light. Mm-hmm.
Light. But with access
light or
consciousness,
consciousness,
I didn't know that there is with access consciousness. I didn't know that there was this energy of being or something like that. Am I limiting myself?
What do you mean?
Or
access is about knowing, being, receiving, and perceiving.
Mm-hmm.
And empowering you. Access is just a whole bunch of tools to make your life easier. It's very pragmatic. Same as Akashic Record. It's just a whole set of different tools. But the field is the same.
I see.
The field is consciousness.
Well, so Helen, like with the COVID-19, the coronavirus, I was wondering if you have asked the Akashic Record about it, what it means and all this stuff. So Is it possible for you to
It's
share?
actually a gift. It's a gift. It's a reset. And there is no right and wrong. People who are dying are actually choosing to die. They are ready to leave the planet. It's reset for the planet. And it's about, and today is the Earth Day. It's about what contribution we can be to the planet. And us being home, this is the time to go inside, to kind of like connect with our own Akashic, with Akashic field, with our consciousness, so we can actually become more aware of what is. COVID-19 is not a wrongness, no matter how it came about. And as I said, there is no right and wrong about it. It's just what is now. And what else is possible? What else can we create beyond this? This is actually about this reality breaking down in the consciousness, the Akashic field being here now. When I started, there was the history of Akashic records or consciousness, or call it magic. You can call it whatever you want. Divine. It's a field of infinite possibilities. Years ago, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, people, because magic is just like, or Akashic field, is field of creation. Just like a knife, you can use it to kill, or you can use it to cut bread and create and cook food. Those thousands of years ago, people used, like certain people, not sure, Teki or whoever they were, used that for evil. And so for a while, only few people were allowed to go into the Akashic field, into the field of consciousness, to get the information. And still throughout the centuries, people were there, like famous composers, artists, prophets. They all were in the Akashic field. And in the last, I would say 150 years, the field started getting more accessible to everybody. And especially in the last 40, 50 years. So that's why now it's easier to get the consciousness to be aware and have your awareness from the heart, because all those barriers, all those blocks started breaking down. And we are actually invited now to co-create with divine, with Akashic field and within the Akashic field, more so than ever before. And I'm actually, I'm going to do a couple of Akashic record classes in the next couple of months online. I'm doing Akashic records in May, in Russian, and I'll probably be doing in the beginning, it's at the end of May, I think 23rd, 24th starting. And I'm doing in English probably at the beginning of May. And I'm also going to do a specialty class one day, creation within Akashic records, which is going to be one day class, which is spread probably over 2 or 3 days, 2-3 hours each. I'll tell you, you can find out on my website probably within a couple of days when I post it. The Russian one is actually available. And we are going on our third and final break. And after the break, we will talk more about what can we contribute with our gratitude and forgiveness. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is what can gratitude and forgiveness create? And before we went on a break, we were talking about how this reality is breaking down with COVID-19. And Nicole, do you have like a specific question or?
Yeah, now I have a new question. Thank you so much for sharing that thing about coronavirus. So I would really like to know what would be the best way to use Akashic with the Access tools combined in my classes and sessions? Or for myself?
Well, I would not combine them in the classes just because of copyright. This reality is still has its own, I would say, guidelines, and it's different tools, even it's the same field, but I would not use them together in the classes, because then the students will not know which one is which. It's more about keeping not so much the energies, because energies are the same, but the tools. It's more of a respect to Gary and Dane, saying that being a certified facilitator, you are a representative of access consciousness.
No,
so
I'm not
with
saying that
that,
I'll
you
combine
don't.
that in a class that I'll teach it that way. It's just that I wonder if it could provide me more awareness. Sometimes when
Absolutely. I
like
use that constantly.
having more
I would open the records. I would open the records. I would open the records of myself and the class before I facilitate the class, as well as I would start SOP and ESC, because it's easier for me. I use all the tools to my advantage during the classes, but I would not use the actual tools in the class, if that's what you were asking.
No, you can't. I mean, it's access class, so it's not honoring of Gary and Dane, so I wouldn't do that. But I was looking for a tool that will really enhance or expand my awareness, so that I could better serve my students and clients as well.
Yeah, just open the records before, and you have a choice. You can open the records of yourself, or you can open the records of yourself and the class.
And do you leave it open during the time of the class?
Absolutely. That's maybe cheating, but it helps me. Same like I would open the records during Akashic Records class. It's just different, and I don't use access tools in Akashic Records classes. I keep them separate completely, because it's different tools, and people need to learn them separate. When I do consultation,
Yeah.
It's different. Consultation, I might open the record of the person and do Akashic Record consultation and then use access tools if I need to, or continue with Akashic Records tools. Because a lot of times grace points on the hand can help. And by the way, a lot of times grace points can help to clarify the information you get from the records.
What's grace point?
Grace points are, I'm not sure if Linda Howe uses that, but quite a few schools do use them. Archie has 12 grace points, 12 or 13 grace points. Lisa Burnett has 1 grace point. It's a point on the hand, when lightly touched, clear a lot of things from your body. They work almost like a combination of bars and body processes. Mm-hmm. In my school, we have about 20 grace points. One of them is cellular memory trigger that clears a lot of cellular memory of stuff. There is also point of clearing the trigger of fear, which also helps with allergies. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of things that, there is a lot of tools in the classes. There is a basic tool that you learn how to access the records, and it doesn't matter yours or somebody else's. And the level 2, you're actually using the tools. With saying that certain prayer and certain grace points are only in the basic, and the rest of them kind of combined in the advanced class of Akashic Records.
And Helen, is it okay to go to sleep with the Akashic Records open?
Usually not very good. It's just like running all your bars at the same time. Your sleep might not be very restful, and you might wake up with a headache because it's very intense. You will be continuing working in Akashic Records instead of resting.
Oh,
it's very intense. You might not even be able to fall asleep, let's put it this way. It's not a danger, and a lot of times they will kick you out. Yeah.
Oh, so I would open the records and then I go to sleep. I didn't know that whether you should or not should, but in the morning when I get up, I felt very rested and felt very well, happy. And so, but Linda Howe in her book, she says not to do it. So I was wondering, why not?
It's the same thing, but a lot, because it's not going to be very restful unless they kicked you out. And sometimes they do. Just like it's not recommended driving with Akashic Records open, it's just like driving during very deep meditation. So you kind of will be under influence. And we're actually close to the end. We have about a minute left to the end of the show. So thank you so much, Nicole, for your questions. And you've been listening to Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease radio show on Inspired Choices Network. And if you'd like to learn more about the classes, either Akashic Records or Access classes, you can go to creatingabundancewithease.com and learn more. And I'm also doing SOP on this Sunday for free. See you soon. Gotta go.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life